Manifesting wealth, mindset to abundance. I'm going to share a rich guy that I met yesterday. Interesting story, but I gotta share with you in this video this guy's mindset, his vibration, and it's all about money. So you're here because you want to attract, manifest more money, more wealth into your life. Yesterday, this rich guy that I met, he told me something, and I'm going to share it with you in this video. And even more important, his whole vibration was money, and it was in a certain way that I'm going to share with you. And it was like, I met him a little more than 24 hours from now, and yesterday. And the energy, sometimes you meet a person, and it's kind of like there's magnetic between you. I was in a good mood. I met him. I shook his hand. And it was just like, I don't know how you say this, attraction in a good way. And I found out later why. So, I was on a movie set yesterday. Maybe you heard me say in yesterday's video that I attracted a small part of a scene in a movie set. This guy called me up and said, could you help? And I said, sure. So I showed up yesterday. I know that what I showed up for was historic from my country with some of the biggest company owners, their story. And I knew that I had to drive an old car. That was all I knew. So I showed up at this scene, the set, the movie set, and I said hello to people. And when I was waiting for my costume, they told me that I was to meet this guy because he had to show me how the car that I was to drive, how it drove. So I knew, because it was not a new car, it was an old car. So I got out and I met with this guy, and we shook hands, and it was like something happened in that moment. Maybe you can relate to this. We just connected. I had a big smile on, the guy had a big smile on, and he took me into this car. It was a Rolls Royce, an old car. He took me into the car, showed me how it worked, and we took a couple of rounds in front of this historic old building. So I knew how the car was working. We had some fun in there. We just met. We didn't have a lot of time, so it was just very focused on driving the car. But we also had some fun, good connection. Later on, there was a short, small break. And I talked with the guy, and I asked him a couple of questions. I don't know how old he was, but I think that he would probably be between 70, 75 or something. So not a young guy, And I've always had it like this. People with a lot of years behind them, they got a lot of stories. And it's interesting to figure out why where they are, what happened for them, what kind of decisions and things like that. I'm very curious about this. So here comes some facts around this guy, just to let you understand that he was not like an average guy, not like a normal guy. He said so too to me. So I asked him, is this kind of a hobby for you? Because it was his car and he rented it out to the production company, and he said, yeah. I said, do you have more than? Because there were two cars there. And he said, yeah. I have, and I don't recall, 62 or 68 of those cars. My mind was beginning to be very curious, 62, 68, and we kind of talked, and I said, well, these cars are not like they are expensive, right? And he just nodded with a big smile, like, yeah. And I said, how long have you been doing this? And he said, I started when I was 17 years old. And I was like, wow. So he shared a couple of things with me, just some numbers I'm going to share with you. And after that, I'm going to share the thing that really clicked for me. I absorbed his energy and I'm going to pass it forward to you. How this guy manifested wealth and his mindset around abundance and his vibration. I'm going to share these with you. It was kind of like my mind and then my whole being was lit up by what he said and the way he said it to me. So 62, 68 of those cars since he was 17 years old. And I asked him, so what did you do? How did you get all of those money? And he said, well, I've done different things. But he said it in a way, his energy was very, very unique. It was unique. It was a wealth energy. He just zoop, 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 wealth energy. And so we talked. He also asked me a couple of questions, and he owned a lot of properties in our country here. And I said to him, so are you a business owner? Or he said he had businesses and he sold businesses. And I was just getting more curious about this guy. We were having fun. And I asked him, but still, it's a lot of cars and they're expensive. And he also told me he liked other expensive things. And now it comes, because I said to him, how come? What did you do? What did you do that other people haven't learned or are not doing? He said, I smell business. I smell money. I actually think he did like this, not taking anything, but more like he kind of like a dog, you know. I just know when there's a good business. And I was like, whoa, interesting. Because the way he said this, he said, I know when there's a good business. I know when I can make a good profit. And I've always known. The way he said this was with so much certainty. Just let those words and the energy absorb you. It was with so much certainty. There was no doubt. There was no, it's been good or it's been bad. I also had some things not working out, and it was just like that was his mindset. I know good business. I know when I can make a profit. Certainty. And I was kind of like, wow. That was his belief. That was his, what do you say, that conviction. Conviction? He was just painting that picture for me in one sentence. His mind was programmed for wealth, for good business, for good profit, with so much certainty. And if you've been following me in some of the videos that I've uploaded, you know that I've been speaking about turning the back to doubts. There were no doubts in this guy's mind. You know, I've been speaking about looking into what it is that you want. There was only the thing that this guy wanted in his mind, nothing else. And it was so clear to me when I spoke with him. His energy, his vibration was wealth and abundance. There was no lack in there. There was no, I'm not sure. There was no, but I didn't have money, or there was no, but I couldn't afford it or anything. No, it was the opposite. He was so certain that what he wanted, he would get. He was so certain that when he saw a business opportunity, he would make money. Let this just, the energy absorb you. Maybe just close your eyes and sit with this. Watch it again if you want. And I asked him, he said, why you want all of this? And he told me this funny little story, and there was a point to it. He said, you know what, I live in a small town in the country. When I go to the supermarket, I take one of the biggest cars. And I got pictures running in my mind. Those old Rolls Royce, you know. 2 seats, so people could face each other in the back, and a bar in there with old bottles and all of that. My mind was just filled with images. And I was curious, so why do you take that car? And he said, you know what? I know from people that saw me, or friends that's been telling family members or something, saw me in that car. Half of them is like, crazy dude. And the other half was like, wow, interesting guy. Admiration and like in a good energy. And he said, but you know what? As far as I know, remember, I think he's around 70 years old. He said, as far as I know, I only got this one life. And I'm gonna taste, and I'm gonna enjoy, and I'm gonna have all the experiences that I can have, again with certainty. Like, that was his purpose in life. And then I asked him, here comes an interesting thing. I said to him, so you're still doing business? You don't need to, right? He said, no, I don't need to. But when I see a good deal, I'm doing business. And they keep showing up, he said. So he told me this true story. He said just a few years ago, he saw this property like a neighbor from where he lived. And he saw a good deal there. So he got to the bank, long story about what negotiations he had to go through, but he borrowed the money, and I I took it into the United States dollars here. So he borrowed, like, let me see, it was 650K. 650K he borrowed for this property, the land there. Now, he said, here's a good deal, because only 3 years after, and I think that was last year, I sold it. Because there was a big investor who wanted to do a lot of apartments there. So I sold it to that investor. So I was like, did you make a profit? He was just laughing. And he said, let me just see the number here. He said, yeah, I sold it for 27. Is that correct? No, that's not correct. It's 2. No, not even that. I have to calculate sorry about that. Yeah, there we go. So $6.5 million US. He sold it for $6.5 million US. So that's 10 times up. And he was just laughing. So he bought it for 650K, borrowed by the bank. He sold it 3 years later for $6.5 million US. Of course, he had to pay the bank back, but that's a profit around $6 million in 3 years without doing a lot of work. See, that the kind of, like I said, inspired me, and I wanted to share this with you. His certainty, his mindset and belief around business and money, good deals, making deals, and it's the only thing that there is. There's no other solutions than me making a good deal and earning a good profit. How do you like that, huh? So I look forward to share this story with you, and also I felt inspired and I wanted to share this with you so you can be inspired by it too. Let me know in the comments. Any great stories around wealthy people that you've seen, heard yourself. Not from a story from a newspaper or something, but a person you spoke with or something you saw. Some great stories. Let me know in the comments. So, and also, please, I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy uploading them. I enjoy sharing them with you. My insights, my learnings, things from my story, from other people's stories. If you like it just a little, please give me a like. And also feel free to join the channel, subscribe, and hit that bell if you want notification when there's a new video. Hope you enjoy it. See you in the next one. Lots of love.